Good afternoon. My name is Jagmeet Chawla. I'm Chief Architect for Watson Media and Weather, also known as the Weather Company. And I also have Jason McGee with me, who's going to talk a little bit later about IBM Cloud Platform. He's VP of IBM Cloud Platform. So let's talk about weather.com's journey to the IBM Cloud. But before we do that, let me just give you an idea of the problem that we are trying to solve. What is our mission? As you saw in the video, our mission is simply to map our planet's atmosphere. But when you think about the problem, Earth is an oblate ellipsoid, which is about 500 million square kilometers. If you lay a grid on top of it, 1 square kilometers, that gives you so many data points. But that's not all. As you saw in the video, 62 miles of elevation or 100 kilometers of elevation is extremely important because weather depends a lot on the elevation. So that gives us our third dimension. So we have to worry about latitude, longitude, as well as elevation, all the way from sea level to Kármán line, which is 100 kilometers above our planet. Then finally, weather is a very dynamic, rapidly changing, what is called a deterministic chaos system. It depends a lot on initial conditions as well as time. So you have to take into account the time as well. So essentially, we have a 4-dimensional problem that we have to solve, latitude, longitude, elevation, as well as time. So how do we do it? Well, you start with a lot of data. Basically ingesting data from all the personal weather stations, all the weather stations, to satellites, to Doppler radars, to the data provided by government agencies like National Weather Services, their alerts and all those kind of things, turbulence data, all those kind of things. And essentially, then you do a lot of weather data modeling and you compute a forecast. Once you compute a forecast, then you serve it out via APIs. So in essence, we are a data-first company and API-first company. Everything is exposed via APIs. Then sitting on top of these APIs is all the products that everybody knows, our iOS app, our Android app, weather.com, which is #1 digital property as far as weather is concerned, and a lot of industry vertical solutions, the likes of for aviation and energy and so on. And then we also serve the same data via same APIs to our partners like Apple, Google, Samsung as well. So that, in essence, is how we do the work. And as you can see, it's very compute heavy, and we do pretty much everything in cloud. So let's talk about weather.com, because that's what we are here to talk about, and journey of weather.com's migration to IBM Cloud. So this is #1 digital weather property in the world. We have actually 2, weather.com, and we also have wonderground.com, which is a weather enthusiast property. And between both of these, we have, on an average, 30 million monthly active users, and that's during normal weather. During severe weather, we jump all the way up to 100 million monthly active users. So as you can see, our scale goes up 2x, 3x. So this is very elastic as well. All right, so just to summarize that, in terms of APIs, we have somewhere around 25 billion to 50 billion forecasts a day. We actually, that many forecasts on demand, we serve it out. Our weather.com and wonderground.com, 600 million page views per month, jumps easily up to more than 1 billion page views per month during severe weather. And the videos are, we run videos, video plays are about 400 million monthly, and they easily jump up to 900 million during severe weather as well. So we normally see, whenever a hurricane hits, 2x or 3x the scale that we normally do. So let's talk about our journey to the IBM Cloud. So this was the previous web architecture. We were on one of the largest cloud provider. We were in 4 global regions, 2 availability zones each. And on top of that, we had Akamai GTM distributing the traffic across these regions. So what we did when we moved to IBM Cloud was, number one, we expanded the number of global regions. We are expanding mostly in rest of the world globally. So we wanted closer to our customers as well to reduce the latency. So that was the first thing that we did. So now we are in 5 global regions, 2 availability zones each. And of course, we continue to have Akamai on top of it, distributing traffic throughout. So in terms of technical stack, we have essentially for our weather platform, web platform, 2 different parts of the stack. One is the authoring stack, and one is the serving stack. So web authoring stack is primarily based on Drupal. Earlier, it was hosted on AWS by Acquia. So we containerized that fully, and now we are running it on IBM Cloud on IKS, IBM Cloud Kubernetes Services. And we also have our web serving stack, which was a bunch of Node.js applications and some Go as well. We converted those things to microservices. We containerized that, and we are running them fully on IKS now. That's how we migrated to IBM Cloud. We did not just do lift and shift. We actually modernized our technical stack to pay down the technical debt. We use this as an opportunity to modernize our entire stack. One more thing, and I'm going to talk about IKS, is we have a lot of static assets. So we have images, videos, and all those kind of things. And we have those things. We are hosting those things in Cloud Object Store, IBM's Cloud Object Store now. And that's where all those videos that you saw earlier, that's where they are being served from. So in terms of Kubernetes, 7 data centers, 5 global regions. Yeah, we talked about that. We have about 460 nodes, more than 8,000 pods. And this is what happened right after we completed our migration to IBM Cloud. We did this migration in 2018. It took us about 6 months to complete it. And just a month after we did the migration, we got hit with Florence hurricane. So that was in September 2018. During that entire time, our average number of requests, of course, went up 1.6x, 1.7x. And the peak, we peaked at around 2.6x. So that 2x, 3x, it falls in that range. However, we scaled beautifully. IKS scaled beautifully. We had 0 downtime, 100% end user access. There was no impact in terms of either the performance or the availability as far as our users are concerned. In fact, on IBM Cloud, we have seen, on IKS, we have seen 30% better performance as far as web pages are concerned, page load time, compared to where we were earlier. We also increased our release velocity dramatically. So during those 3 days, we did 10 releases. And I'm going to talk about that, why that is a little in a bit. And now we have been on IBM Cloud for close to a year. During this entire time, actually more than a year, we have had 0 downtime. There is no customer impact, no downtime. It's very stable. It's scalable. No performance impact, nothing. And we have now settled on 40% more releases before IBM Cloud. So these are some of the stats for Dorian hurricane. You can see that on the right. So why did we choose to go for IBM Cloud? Very simple, managed services, Kubernetes, IBM Cloud databases, Cloud Object Store, all those kind of things. So essentially, it allows us to focus more on our core competency, which is our product, rather than infrastructure. So we don't have to worry about infrastructure. We don't have to worry about all those kind of things. That's primarily the reason we have significant DevOps savings as well. We talked about 100% uptime. We have more than a year and worth of 3 hurricanes data where the volume went up 2x, 3x to prove that. So that's 100% uptime. And this is the IBM DevOps pipeline. So we have seen 80% reduction in our DevOps pipeline, which correspondingly basically gave us a 40% increase in releases. And of course, the biggest factor for that is the managed services. But there are other things as well, like security policies and all those things. There are some testimonials from our DevOps team. So they're talking about things like more granular access control in IBM Cloud, custom policies for users, and group policies, all those kind of things. Cloud Object Store, for example, allows you to have read-only access for bucket and all those kind of things, which makes it very easier for development team to grant access to people for other things, not necessarily to write things in there. And then finally, again, they are talking about basically we don't have to manage infrastructure. We don't have to worry about that. Plus IBM support, they are very happy with the IBM support, and that's basically those testimonials. All right, so what is our perspective? Our perspective overall is IBM Cloud is secure, it's very stable, and it's very scalable. And we have the use case here of weather.com, a high-scale elastic website, to prove that. So where are we going from there? Of course, Red Hat OpenShift. So we just finished the migration last year to Kubernetes. We are still porting other parts of our technical stack and other applications to IKS. And now we have just started the process to migrate to Red Hat OpenShift. So stay tuned. There is a lot of things planned for 2020 and beyond, rest of the stack, and also Red Hat OpenShift migration. With that, I will hand it over to Jason.
Great, thanks, Jagmeet. So I think it's a great story about how the weather team was able to move to IBM Cloud and leverage the capabilities of our platform. I want to spend the last few minutes that we have just to zoom out a little bit and put this use case in context with the bigger IBM Cloud strategy. Jagmeet talked a lot about how as they moved weather.com over, the sets of capabilities in IBM Cloud that they were able to leverage. Of course, Kubernetes as a service was a really key element. And I think if you look at IBM's hybrid cloud strategy, we feel really strongly that Kubernetes is the platform for people to use going forward, both for new application development and for modernizing existing applications and bringing them into the cloud. And so we, over the last 2 to 3 years, have invested a tremendous amount in building what I think is the industry's best managed Kubernetes platform and using that with our clients and ourselves. And so I want to kind of talk a little bit about some of the capabilities that we have there. If you zoom out a little bit and you look at IBM Cloud as a platform, we've done a tremendous amount of evolution over the last couple of years and really built an all-new cloud. And so I wanted to spend 1 minute and just talk about some of the elements that we've brought to the market in IBM Cloud that we think are really critical to people's success in cloud. Of course, no cloud exists without infrastructure. We've invested a tremendous amount in building world-class VPC capabilities within our infrastructure, building next-gen infrastructure capabilities around 100-gig networking and faster provisioning. We have a tremendous object storage capability that has some really unique features, like the ability to have cross-regional storage of data. So for example, in the US, you can have data that's stored on the West Coast in Dallas and on the East Coast, access that data from anywhere in the US with low latency, and have the resiliency of knowing that your data is available anywhere in that continent. Even if you had a full region failure, your data is going to be writable and readable anywhere in the world. So you have this really strong infrastructure layer. On top of that, we've built this Kubernetes platform, which today supports both upstream Kubernetes, the latest versions, and OpenShift. So you can choose which stack you want to leverage. OpenShift obviously plays a really important role in having a common platform for containers that works not only in IBM Cloud, but works in your data centers and works in Amazon and Google and Azure, and anywhere they use an enterprise need that platform to exist. All the boxes on top are the other services in IBM Cloud, and I'm obviously not going to talk about them all, but the reason I put them there is we have also rebuilt our entire cloud to run on top of Kubernetes. So we run 90% of all of the services in IBM Cloud on Kubernetes itself, on the same service that we make available for clients to use. And that's important for 2 reasons. One is it has given us a tremendous amount of operational experience that we use to harden and scale the service. So the results that Jagmeet talked about that they achieved in the weather.com case of high scale and stability and availability is grounded in a service that's really supporting a huge workload in IBM Cloud and therefore benefits from all of that hardening. The other reason I put it up there is there's a lot of debate in the industry around what kinds of workloads are good to run on a platform like Kubernetes and to run in containers. And if you look at that list of services that we're running, there's, of course, stateless websites, there's relational databases, there's NoSQL stores, there's data warehouses, there's machine learning and blockchain and IoT. Really, every kind of workload you can think of, stateful and stateless workloads, data-intense workloads, we're successfully running in production at scale on Kubernetes as a platform. And what that says to me is that you can run anything there. And we've been able to take that experience and kind of bake it into how we run our cloud. And then on top of all of those services, of course, we've done a lot of work around containerizing our middleware, making our software capabilities through something called Cloud Paks available to run in an optimized form on top of platforms like OpenShift and make that easy to deploy in our cloud. So this is a view of kind of how we built our cloud and the capabilities that we have. If we zoom out one more level and think about IBM's overall cloud strategy, we really believe strongly that cloud is hybrid, that all of you are not using one cloud provider. You're using a variety of cloud providers. You're going to have a mix of on-prem systems and public cloud platforms that you leverage. And so our strategy is built around that notion of hybrid. Red Hat, as part of IBM, plays a fundamental role in providing a consistent Linux platform and a consistent container platform with OpenShift that is available to run in that hybrid world, and that gives you that consistent platform. We're making that available in our public cloud. We're optimizing all of our software to run on that. So all of our capabilities around data and AI with Watson, around integration and applications, around management of that multi-cloud environment are available on that platform, and that means that you can use them anywhere. If you want to use Watson AI in other public cloud besides IBM or in your data center, you can do that because of this consistent hybrid platform. And so our strategy is to really help our clients be successful in running this platform anywhere that they need it. And so to end, I want to just spend the last minute kind of saying, well, how do we think about cloud then from a differentiation standpoint, from the standpoint of like, what do we focus on? And I think there's lots of ways to boil that down, but we kind of boil it down into three. One is open, the incredibly critical role that open source and open technologies play in running our platform. You see that every day in the technology choices that we've made in our cloud, in our commitment to Kubernetes and databases and other technologies that are built on an open source foundation. Second is security. We're about enterprise, and security and compliance, deep capabilities for vulnerability management and security management, access controls and network security are built into every level of our cloud and are optimized to help you run critical workloads and regulated workloads in the context of cloud. And then finally, enterprise grade, meaning we've really tuned our system to the needs of the enterprise market. That means that we're pragmatic. You have a bunch of VMware, for example, in your data center, and you want to be able to move some of that into the public cloud. We have the industry's best VMware as a service offering on IBM Cloud that helps you lift and shift those workloads into the cloud as a starting point to transformation, modernization, or new development that you might want to do in the cloud. So optimized for enterprise, secure to the core, and built on open are kind of the key principles that drive us. So hopefully that gives you guys a sense for the IBM Cloud, for some of the use cases like Jagmeet talked about. At this point, if there's any questions, maybe we can take one. Anyone want to do it in the big room? If not, we'll be out of our booth after this and be happy to talk to you there. Thank you very much for listening to our story about IBM Cloud and the Weather Company.